welcome to the channel. In this video today, Deadlands patch. So let's go ahead and get into it. My maximum health is 21.1k, my max stamina is 35.2, my stamina recovery is 1.6, my weapon damage unbuffed is 4.3, and my weapon critical unbuffed is 36.1. Physical penetration, I have 4k. Now, I am a Khajiit, so keep that in mind. Your stats may look a little different depending on your race. But if you're looking for the three best stamina races right now, or that are pulling higher numbers, that would be Orc, Khajiit, and Dark Elf. So those are your top three, but really any race can do anything. So race really doesn't matter unless you're going for score runs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Orc, Race, Khajiit are the top, or Orc, Khajiit, and Dark Elf are the top three. So I have 64 points into stamina. The boon I'm running is the Thief. The food I'm running is the Lavafoot Soup and Saltries. And then those are my pets. Now, buffed. Let's see. Let's switch over to this food real quick. Buffed up with just my pot alone. I guess I'll hit this too. You'll see that my stamina recovery goes up to 2k. My weapon damage is 5k. My weapon critical is 48.1%. And my resistance go up to 17.4. Critical, don't have any problems with that. So let's go ahead and go over the CP points. CP points, go into green first. Passive wise, I'm using Gilded Fingers and Fortune Favors. This just Gilded Fingers increases the amount of gold I get by 10%, and Fortune Favor increases the amount of gold I find in chests and safe. Wanderer here is just here to kind of bridge the gap, and then I have Steadfast Enchantment, which basically when the charge goes off on my weapon, I have a 50% chance to negate that. Now, for the ones I keep on my bar, Treasure Hunter increases the quality of items you find in treasure chests. As chests, this is really great to have, especially if you're farming for equipment. It can turn a simple into advanced or intermediate. Now, if you're in a normal dungeon, you're not going to get a purple jewelry piece, but it gives you a better chance of actually getting a set piece from that dungeon. So, and then I have Master Gatherer and Plentiful Harvest. Master Gatherer basically reduces the time it takes for me to grab a node by 50%, and Plentiful Harvest basically gives me a 50% chance to get double. 50% chance to get double from that node. So if I'm waiting on queues, trial teams to form, or people if they're putting it together, I'm usually running around farming, and that's where these come in handy. So I just kind of leave them on my bar unless I'm doing something serious. And then I keep liquid efficiency on my bar at all times. Whenever you use a potion or poison, you have a 10% chance to not consume it. Now we are using weapon power pots. That's how we get our major savagery. That is how we get our major brutality. So having this on our bar comes in handy a lot. So that's less gold that we have to spend, or less resources we have to spend in order to make those. Now, I will say most of the time, the only time I'm actually using my weapon power pots is when I'm in vet content. If I'm in normal, it's not really needed. So, and then if you don't care for the gathering stuff, you can put Rationer on your bar here. Basically increases your food or drink buff by 30 minutes. And then Stead's Bless increases your out-of-combat movement speed by 20%. So in the red tree, there are tons of passives. So the ones I keep on my bar at all times is Balanced Vitality, which gives me an extra 1400 max health. Fortified, which gives me an extra 1.7k armor. Rejuvenation, which gives me an extra 90 health, magic, and stamina recovery. And then over here, Bloody Renewal. Every time I kill an enemy, or I land the killing blow on an enemy, I get 1500 stamina back. So, passive-wise, I have Deficiency, or Defiance, Tumbling, Mystic Tenacity. Hero's Vigor here gives us an extra max at 560 max health. So this is really good to have as well. This is one of the more dominant passives to have in the red tree. Here we have Hasty, Sprinter, Tireless Guardian, Fortification, Savage Defense, Bashing Brutality, and then in this tree we have Nimble Protector. And then over here, one that I like when you have the extra CP points, like it really doesn't matter where you put them, I like to bridge the gap. You can go from either way. It takes 10 both ways. To Tempered Soul, which basically if we get caught, get dropped, and when we get res, we get 10% more of our resources back when we get res. So instead of starting out with no stamina, no magicka, you have 10% more. So I think instead of having 10% when you get res, you have like 20%. I could be wrong, but it's been a while since I haven't had this unlocked. So now, blue tree, precision, tireless discipline, piercing, battle mastery, and mighty for our passives. Now for the ones that we keep on our bar, I keep fighting finesse on my bar at all times. Increases our critical damage and critical healing by 10%. So, and then set up. Thermometer should be slotted. I guess maybe there was an issue. Sorry, I got kicked out yesterday, and some of this stuff got changed. I even lost my weapon. So, sometimes I was trying these out, and I like to have them on my bar from time to time. There it is. Okay, so you can have these once you have the extra CP, but for right now, it's not necessarily that important. The ones I keep, Deadly Aim increases your damage done with single target attacks by 10%. Biting Aura increases your damage done with area effect attacks by 10%. And Master Aura increases your damage done with direct damage attacks by 10%. Honestly, this is the best setup between fighting finesse and these three when you're not, if you can't stay behind the enemy. If you can stay behind the enemy, then Backstabber is going to outperform some of these. Basically increase your critical damage done by 15% when you're flanking the enemy. So if you can stay behind the enemy, maybe you have a tank that isn't dancing around, or you actually have a tank in your group and you can stay behind the enemy, use this. You can replace it with any one of these. It doesn't make a huge difference. But honestly, by myself, running around, or in a pug group, this is normally what I'm running right here, and I have no problem with it. I have tried out some of these other ones, and you can get pretty good results, very similar, but these three just kind of outperform the others just slightly on my testing. So that's just me. Use whatever makes you feel comfortable. Use whatever works for you. So sets. Well, we'll go over food. You have Dubious Camor here, which gives us a little extra max health and max stamina. Doesn't give us as much, but it will give you 311 stamina recovery, 2.8k max stamina, and 3k max health. At 21k HP, you really should not need any more max health than that. So, but if you do, Dubious, go with Dubious. Then the one I'm using mostly, the one that I'm using now is Lavafoot Soup and Saltress. It gives me an extra 4.9k stamina and 493 stamina recovery. And then when it comes to pots in general, we are using weapon powered pots. Gives me major brutality, major savagery, restores 7.4k stamina, and grants me major endurance. So, you have to use this. We don't get major savagery on our bar. We don't have anything that gives us major brutality. So we have to use weapon power pots. You can also use these Gold Coast pots if you want. I think it gives you like an extra 100 stamina. Yeah, it does. Weapon power pots restore 7.4k stamina, and these restore 7.5. Actually, it gives you an extra 95 to be exact. So, but it's still pretty good. But it gives you major endurance, major brutality, and major savagery, all that. So if you have crown pots like these and want to use them, go for it. Or you can use weapon power pots. So it's up to you. So for the let's go with the monster set. For the monster set, I'm using Valken Scoria. It gives us offensive penetration, and it gives, when I deal damage with a damage over time effect, I have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals 6.9k flame damage to the target and 2.3k flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds, scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Now, this is just I'm using this for the penetration and the fire. This is a, if you can't tell already, this is going to be just a fire setup. We're running a light helmet divines with max stamina and a light shoulder divines with max stamina. Now, I will say, if you can get through Scalecaller and get Zons here, it gives you critical chance, and when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to create a beam of fire, that will connect you to your enemy as long as you remain within 8 meters of them. The beam deals 1.4k flame damage every 1 second to your enemy for 6 seconds. In fact, every second this damage increases by 100%. In fact, going to go once every 18 seconds. This, with Zons over Valkyrie Scoria, you will deal more damage. But Valkyrie Scoria comes from City of Ash 2, which is an easier dungeon to get through than Skullcaller. Plus, City of Ash 2 is a base game dungeon. So, I was kind of asked for this build in general, not really using DLCs and stuff like that because they don't have VSO+. But I thought I would mention that for whoever actually sees this video. That Zons does outperform Valkyrie Scoria, but if you don't have DLC, go for Valkyrie Scoria if you just want to stick with the fire. If you don't want to stick with fire, Stormfist. This comes from Tempest Island, gives you stamina recovery, and then whenever you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemy, dealing 1.3k shock damage every 1 second for 3 seconds to all enemies within 4 meters, and a final 16.3k physical damage when the fist closes. So, those 3 monster sets would be what I would roll with. Now, for the first 5-piece set, we're running Red Mountain. This is a pretty solid set for most fire setups. We're running it all on the divine, all on the body, all divines, all with max stamina. Now, if you need more stamina, which we have like 35k or 34, 35k, we're good on the max stamina. But if you want more, change one of the pieces to infuse. Either the helmet, the chest, or the legs. That would be my recommendation. Doing one of the smaller pieces, you're not going to get most out of this. If you change like a shoulder to infused, you're going to get like, I think it's like 380, 390 max stamina, to where here, if you have it on the body, you're going to go to, I think, 1,000, 1,100, something like that. So you're going to get more from the body than you will the smaller pieces. So keep that in mind. But Red Mountain is an overland set from Stonefalls. It's a very easy set to get, a very easy set to farm. And what it does is it gives us weapon damage, it gives us max stamina, and it gives us critical chance. And when we deal damage with a weapon, you spawn a volcano that erupts after 1 second, launching liquid hot lava at the closest enemy, dealing 9.6k flame damage. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. Now, I will say this as well. If you're wanting to make something easier, well, I'll go over the second, the what I was about to say here in a minute. Sorry. Now, on our back bar, we're running a Maelstrom Bow infused with a weapon damage enchant. Basically, this comes from normal Maelstrom Arena, and basically when we increase the damage volley deals by 430 each tick. This bonus increases by 143 each time volley ticks, up to a maximum of 8 times. Maelstrom Arena on normal is very easy to get through. It's not hard at all. It may take you 20-30 minutes, and it may take you a couple of runs, but it is worth doing. I trust me, it is definitely worth doing. So, now, the second 5-piece set that we're running is an overland set from Craglorn. We're running the Way of the Fire set. We have to run this on jewelry and weapons because it is a heavy armor set, and if we don't run it on our weapons and jewelry, then we're going to have heavy armor pieces, and we don't want that, because what we have for the body is that we want at least 5 medium and 2 light. So with that, what this does, we're running it sword, precise, flame damage enchant, and we're running a ring of the jewelry, bloodthirsty, with a weapon damage enchant. Now you can have 2 bloodthirsty, 1 infused if you'd like, or you can have this set up whichever way you like. It's up to you. Now, like I said, this comes from Craglorn. You'll get it from chest bosses. But what this does is, or you can buy it from Guild Traders. You can really buy this whole set except for the monster set from Guild Traders. Now what this does, it gives us weapon damage, max stamina, weapon critical, and when we deal damage with a weapon, you deal an additional 2.9k flame damage. This effect can occur once every 2 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Now, both of these sets are procs, and both procs can crit now. That is the fun part about this. So that means Valkyrie Scoria can proc. I don't know if Zons can proc or not. I know there are some proc sets that can't, like Reliquins, but I don't know if Zons fully procs. If someone knows, y'all can tell me in the comment, please. But Scoria will proc, Red Mountain's proc will proc, will crit, and Necklace of Fire, that fire damage from this one can crit. So, everything here crits. So, now, for if you have Zons, if you can get Zons, because Zons does show up in the vendor, the luxury or the golden vendor during the weekends. Sometimes, if you have this set or can get carried through, or you just have it, then because we don't get the penetration from this, you're not going to get it from this. You're going to get a little crit. Swap out the greatsword with the maul. Get that extra penetration from the maul. And truthfully, I would still run the maul over the greatsword if you have it. Unfortunately, when I was trying out both of these, and the game just kind of crashed yesterday, so my maul was gone. I don't know what happened. I was in the middle of testing, and it just kind of disappeared. So I just kind of threw on my greatsword and did this, and knocked out a quick DPS test. But the numbers, it's still close. I think there was about close to a 2k difference in the DPS. But greatsword still performed really well, so if you just want to use the sword, by all means, go for it. So, but as long as it's precise with the flame damage enchant, you're fine. Now, if you don't have the transmutation crystals, or don't necessarily want to go into Cragmorn, I understand some people just don't like Cragmorn due to the area chat, or the zone chat. So, there is a crafted set that you can craft. It's going to give you max health, it's going to give you weapon damage and critical chance. And when you deal direct melee damage, you breathe fire on enemies in front of you, dealing, I think it's like 5.3k flame damage. The effect can occur once every 4 seconds. It is called Ashen Grip, and it is a 2 trait to craft. You can usually craft it at the very start of most stuff. I think in Stonefalls, I think Ashen Grip is right here. I may be mistaken, but it is right there, I think. So, but you can usually craft that, like, you find it in Stonefalls, you'll find it in Auradon, and you'll find it in Glenumbra. You know, so there'll be a crafted set here in Glenumbra somewhere, and there will be a set in Auradon somewhere around here. So, or if you have a friend who has the attunables, they probably have Ashen Grip. It takes 2 traits to craft it, so it's not that hard to get. And it is a good service option over fire, because you can use red. It is a crafted set, so you want to get Red Mountain jewelry. It's robust, so it would still be stamina, and then just craft you some body pieces here, and a maul or a greatsword if that's what you want. So it is nice. Skills, pretty simple. We don't use that many. Rotation is very easy. We're using Wrecking Blow as our main spammable. Slam an enemy with an upward swing, dealing 12.5k physical damage. Grants you Empower for 3 seconds, increasing the damage of your light and heavy attacks by 40%. Now, I like Wrecking Blow because of light attack weaving, because I get that Empower. But if you have trouble light attack weaving, go with crystal weapons. This it sounds weird, but crystal weapons, you will just hit and it encases your weapon in dark crystal for 4 seconds, causing your next light or heavy attack to deal an additional 10.5k physical damage, and reducing the target's armor by 1,000 for 5 seconds. After casting your next non-ultimate ability used within 3 seconds costs 10% less. So let me show you what I mean by this, or just easy, like with the weaving when it comes to that. So with Wrecking Blow, we're going to hit it. There's a charge up, and he swings. Well, Red Mountain's right in the way. So he charges up, and then you just kind of light attack with it. So you're going to see Empower down there, and it's very easy to do. But with Crystal Frags, or with the Stamina Morph of Crystal Frags, we're going to switch it out to Crystal Weapon as soon as I'm out of combat. There we go. And you'll see what he does here. He just slings it, he just checks it, and you'll just swing. So either way, light attack weaving, but there's no wind up. You can go with whichever one you want, because it's going to proc Red Mountain, it's going to proc Way of the Fire, either way. So you just pick whichever one you like more. Both these two are very serviceable. This is the main dark magic ability. Plus, when we hit with this, we're also going to get a little extra crit. So if we proc this, proc our pot, and look at our crit, it's at 4.8. Or 48.1. So we cast Dark Magic, when we light attack, our crit goes up to, it should have went up, if I'm not mistaken. Because we should have got Minor Prophecy here for doing that. Unless I'm missing something. Or maybe Crystal Weapons doesn't proc it. I don't know, but we should have got Minor Prophecy. That was That's weird. I don't know if that's a bug or not, but we should have got Minor Prophecy from that. But either way, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. So yeah, so you can either use Wrecking Blow or Crystal Frags, whatever you like. Then we use Executioner. We spin around, striking an enemy, dealing 5.4k physical damage, and deals up to 400% more damage to enemies with less than 50% health. This is our Execute. There's an Execute in the class, Mage's Fury here, but there's no Stamina Morph. So a Stam Sorcerer doesn't necessarily have an Execute. So Executioner, it's really good. It gives us that Execute. I know it says you can start using this under 50% health, but I really wouldn't start using this till they're around 20% health. And then you just drop Wrecking Blow for Executioner. Bound Ornaments, arm yourself with the power of Oblivion for 40 seconds, causing your light and heavy attacks to summon a bound weapon for 10 seconds, up to 4 times. You can reactivate the ability for half cost to arm the weapons, causing them to strike your target for 4.4 physical damage every 0.3 seconds, while slotted your max damage is increased by 8% and your light attacks deal 10% more damage. So our light attack weaving with this is very important on a sorcerer, because we're going to get an extra 10% there, plus we're getting power from Wrecking Blow. So our light attacks are hitting 50% harder. And really all this is, you'll proc it before you go into battle. It lasts for 40 seconds. And as you light attack, you'll see the little daggers come up. And as you're weaving, you just fire them off. That's it. It's a really easy ability to use, a really easy ability to understand. That's it. That's all it is to it. You just, as your light attack weaving, you'll build up 4 daggers. And even if you're not on that bar with this, as long as it's active, even if you light attack on your back bar, so you don't have to double bar it. You can see they're building up there, and then as I switch to my front bar, I'm able to use them. So, now, I have pets. I am using the pets in this. Clanfear, command the powers of Oblivion to send a Daedric Clanfear to fight at your side. The Clanfear's headbutt deals 1.6k physical damage, while its tail spike hits nearby enemies for 1.6 physical damage after 1 second. Once summoned, you can activate the Clanfear's special ability for 4.2k magicka, healing you for 6.7k, and the Clanfear for 3.3. The Clanfear remains until killed or unsummoned. So this is just kind of like our little heal if we need it. We got to double bar these two. We're using both of these and they have to be double barred. So summon Twilight Tormentor, call on Azura to send a Twilight Tormentor to fight at your side. The Twilight Tormentor zaps deal 2k shock damage, and its kicks deal 2k shock damage. Once summoned, you can activate Twilight Tormentor's special ability for 2.7k magicka, and causing it to deal 53% more damage to enemies above 50% health for 15 seconds. Twilight Tormentor remains until killed or unsummoned. Now, for the most time, when I'm going into battle, starting out, when you buff up, I'm going to hit this, and normally I hit the Twilight Tormentor just once. That's it. And I let it. Once it runs out, that's it. I don't reactivate it ever. So it's just kind of there. This is just a little extra damage. And that's it. Now, if you do not like the Twilight Tormentor, because it just deals some shock damage. If you do not like having this, and you want to use, to get away from weapon power pots, this is where you can. You take the Twilight off on the front bar, put Camo Hunter, that will give you a major savagery. Plus, it'll give you minor berserk when you deal critical damage behind an enemy at their flank. And then you also put on the back bar here, you just switch this out for critical surge. Critical surge will give you a major brutality, or my bad, I hit the wrong button. Will give you major brutality, and then on your front bar you will have major savagery. So that way you can get away with not using your weapon power pods if you don't want to. But that's entirely up to you. Me personally, because I am using the weapon power pots, and I don't really, critical surge is one thing, like when I'm doing trials, and most dungeons when I'm rolling with people, I don't really need it that much. So I trust my healers. If I don't have a healer, then I'm ditching the Twilight for surge. That's just me. And then I just put Camouflage Thunder right here to make up for it. So now, back bar, we have Endless Hell. Launch a multitude of arrows into the sky to rain down, dealing 1.4k physical damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second for 12 seconds after a 2-second delay. This ability gets modified by our Maelstrom Bow. That's why we're going to use it regardless, even if you don't have the Maelstrom Bow. So if you don't have the Maelstrom Bow, just put Way of the Fire on the back bar. Just get you a bow. That's it. No problem. you're still going to run the exact same setup on the back bar if you don't have the Maelstrom bow, and if you do. So, Hurricane, manifest yourself as pure air, buffeting nearby enemies with wind dealing 900 physical damage every 1 second for 15 seconds. The wind grows in damages and size, increasing up to 150% more damage and up to 9 meters in size. While in this form, you gain major resolve and minor expedition, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5.9k and your movement speed by 15%. So, these are the only two abilities we use on our back bar really with Barb Trap, and we're going to use Barb Trap every second rotation. So, or actually, you can get away with it casting it. I mean, it's going to have 3 seconds left on it mostly. This lasts for 18, this lasts for 14, this lasts for 15. So just go ahead and recast this every time you come back to your back bar. Now that I'm thinking about it, you'll be fine. And then, oh, I didn't go over the ultimate on the front bar. Ultimate on the front bar is Flawless Dawnbreaker. Arm yourself Meridia's Sacred Sword and dispense your retribution, dealing 13.2k physical damage to enemies in front of you, an additional 14.5k physical damage over 6 seconds. After activating, your weapon spell damage is increased by 300 for 20 seconds. So, this is really here just for the passive from the Fighters Guild, but you can also use it. I usually use this as my second ultimate. The first ultimate that I use to start the fight is the ultimate on my back bar, which is Greater Storm Atra. Summon an immobile Storm Atronach at the target location. Its arrival deals 9k shock damage and stuns enemies for 3 seconds. The Atronach zaps its closest enemy, dealing 4.1k shock damage every 1 second. An ally near the Atronach can activate the Charge Lightning synergy, granting the ally and the Atronach Major Berserk, increasing their damage done by 10% for 8 seconds. So, this is usually the one I start the fight with because it lasts for 28 seconds and it's going to deal quite a bit of damage over the course of that 28 seconds. And then this one afterwards, I tend to use Dawnbreaker. So, now, DPS wise, I know these stats look weird, but 36.4 was the DPS. Pretty laggy. I've lagged up a little bit here and there throughout this video. I'm hoping it doesn't come through too bad on the mic. I know my brain is lagged up a little bit too, but it's besides the point. But 36.4 isn't bad. With the Maul though, you're hitting closer to 38k. So you can go with that. And then when you have a healer in here giving you combat prayer, you're able to break 39. Just up to you. I don't get major berserk or minor, not major berserk, but minor berserk any other way except for combat prayer. That's just personally. And with Zons, this 36.4k will turn into more 37k. But it's up to you. Like I said, Zons or Valkyrie Zons, you definitely will pull more DPS. But you can still break the 35k with either one, as you can see. 36.4. Rotation-wise, you're going to have your pets up. I don't. Yeah, I have enough for the back bar. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to pop pot, Barb Trap, drop her Storm Atro, Hurricane, Fire Attack, Endless Hell, Rotate. Oh, I messed that all up. You do want to hit your bound ornaments first. So, but you'll just throw off a few, Wrecking Power. You should be able to use your bound ornaments before you switch back. And then you would just bar swap back, Endless Hell, Hurricane, Barb Trap. And then just should take one light attack, be able to do the bound ornaments, and just keep swinging. That's it. It's very easy to do, very easy to grasp. And as you can see, no problem. But that's pretty much it. I think I built the ultimate back up because I messed this up. So I actually want to show the actual rotation. I kind of got off. So let me go ahead and show. Okay. Now I can just dismiss these real quick and show the actual without any screw-ups on my part. I'm human. Sometimes I forget. It happens. But, so we're going to put away, and then we're just going to pull it right back out. Turn them around. Alright. Reset. So, when it comes down to it, everything is set. So you're going to make sure your pets are out. You're going to hit bound ornaments. cast the Twilight, drop your shock, barb trap, hurricane, endless hell, and then you should be able to fire off one light attack, and then there you should have your 4. And then you just wrecking blow until you have to reapply your dots, and that's it. Throw your bound ornaments out when you can. Make sure you're using your pot on cooldown, and just keep firing it off. Usually when barb trap gets to around 6 seconds is when it's time to rotate back and just start recasting everything. As you can see, I can bound ornaments. It lasts for 40 seconds. So you just keep, that's it. Very easy to do. Very easy the entire time. It's not hard. It's not overcomplicated. That's it. We got fire going off. And that's all there is to it. You just pop your pots. You keep it going when you can. But that is kind of the fire setup. Just make sure you hit your Twilight bar. Drop your shock. Usually you can drop this away. It starts the DPS test there though. You do kind of want to drop it like down here and then run up, because you want barb trap laid and then start the rotation yourself. If you drop shock like I was doing, it started it a whole lot sooner than I was ready. But it was just kind of demonstrating it. But either way, 36k, not bad. This is kind of a fire lightning setup. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if it's just trash. Until next time, take care.